This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Clifton Payne, and today, queued up for you, 8 news stories from yesterday, Tuesday, into this Wednesday that you vetted as conversational. You wanted to talk about these stories, so we're talking about them, covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Now, we're talking Joe Biden because I guess you want to talk about him. I guess. Also, Savannah Chrisley because she exists and she's there. Plus, we're honoring a big part of my childhood, and that is Wink Martindale and his passing, the great game show host passing away yesterday. We'll talk about him. And we have 5 other stories for the total 8 of stories for today. So, remind you that our website home is thisisconversationproject.com, where you can find out more details about us. Also, stop by Robinhood and see about our sponsor for the day, which is thisisconversationproject.com. So that's Robinhood, and they'll give you a free stock, and we'll get a small commission back on that end. If you want to know more about what's going on and just chat it with me, email me as you will at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. So as I said, today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. No particular order as these stories come through. We'll talk about engagement, talk about how they sort of stacked up in your engagement. But this is basically the best narrative, getting the best ones out at front and sort of making it sort of flow very good. And there's no way to get around it. We got to get started with this one because we got to get it out of the way. Our first story this morning is Joe Biden, and the headline reads, Biden goes after Trump on Social Security in first public post-presidency speech. And I will read what the robot editor gave from last night's appearance, but I have to say up front, this is where my confusion with the term of couldn't care less or could care less gets confused, because I believe could not care less means you're actively trying to care, which in actuality, if I could find ways to care less about this one, I would do that. I have to care because I must care because you care. But if I could find ways to care less, I would find it. So I think that's the proper use of it. Basically, I don't care. But team content is about what you want. So let's talk about Biden going after Trump. In his first major public appearance since leaving office about 3 months ago, former President Joe Biden delivered a sharp critique of President Donald Trump and his handling of Social Security. Now, speaking in Chicago at a conference for disability advocates, Biden accused Trump of severely damaging SSA through workforce cuts, fraudulent misuse of personal data, and chaotic implementation of controversial reforms. Specifically, Biden condemned the plans to lay off 7,000, they probably want 70,000, but 7,000 Social Security Administration employees to allow Trump advisor Elon Musk to basically slash the department and do whatever he wants to. And of course, get that sensitive information and maybe sell them some cars or some internet or something. Social Security recipients have also experienced technical issues and notification errors of what's going on with all the changes happening. Now, Trump's move to tighten identity and verification and prosecute benefit fraud has sparked some lawsuits and heightened tensions because it's overreach. Some of the fraud doesn't exist, and the verification is kind of hard for people who are old and don't have reason to have many IDs. The camp for Trump claims that the measures are meant to combat fraud and waste. Biden warns that the administration wants to dismantle the program and basically use that money to benefit billionaires through tax cuts, which is essentially the thing things saying out loud. Trump administration placed about 6,300 predominantly Latino immigrants in the Social Security Administration's Deaf Masters file, essentially classified them as deceased, which means they can't get benefits anymore, and they have to go back to reapply. In the process of reapplying is a way to target migrants, immigrants who are putting into Social Security and may not be here legally, so they have to basically find themselves and self-deport themselves. Also, cuts that are having issues with Medicaid, Medicare, unemployment insurance, federal loans, a lot of things that are wrapped up inside of Social Security that you don't really think about other than the money you put away that you think you'll get at retirement. It becomes a thing. Now, how much of a thing will it come to basically get through this thing? I don't know. Why is Joe Biden talking about it? Because he has nothing else to talk about, nothing else to do. And as I said before, if I could care less, if I could find ways to care less, I would, because obviously, he was not the man to take over what was happening or continue what was happening going forward. What we have right now is a hole in Democratic leadership, and right now, anyone who speaks out gets a platform. Right now, it's Joe Biden, a man who literally has no power to go forward and no influence of much note to anyone going forward as well. Our second headline for the day goes to Pete Hegseth, or actually to Dan Caldwell, but he is a senior advisor to Hegseth, the defense secretary, and he's been placed on leave following a leak investigation. Now, this may be them actually finding a leaker and finding out that somebody who was key into the administration, somebody who was actually close to Mr. Pete, the other Mr. Pete, I guess, Governor Pete, Mayor Pete, whatever Pete. Defense Secretary Pete may actually be a part of the problem, or at least Trump's problem. He has been placed on administrative leave and escorted out of the Pentagon and basically on this investigation into unauthorized disclosures of sensitive information. According to anonymous defense officials, Caldwell's removal is connected to the broader probe on national security leaks through the Pentagon and Trump administration. The investigation is centered on a signal messaging group chat involving the top Trump security issues, including Hegseth himself, where plans for the military strike against the Houthi militants in Yemen were disclosed because a journalist was put on that chat by mistake. Caldwell served as a liaison in the chat and actually gained attention after journalist Jeff Goldberg actually was added to that one. Maybe he's going to be paid the scapegoat who actually added him there, although Mike Waltz basically said he did it, so he's taking that blame, but not getting any actual prosecution in his end. But an internal investigation shown that the leak going forward, and they were able to just pull one guy from there. So Caldwell is a Marine Corps veteran who previously worked for Hegseth at the Concerned Veterans of America and has been a prominent figure in shaping defense policies all his life. His placement on leave marks significant development in the admission that the administration had some issues with the internal security breaches, and it may be higher than they think. It may not be some low-level guy who gets access to some papers. It might be somebody who actually has some say in what's happening. Dozens of student pilots are suing United Airlines and flight schools over fraud allegations. Now, these former student pilots have filed a federal lawsuit against United Airlines and its flight school, United Aviate Academy, alleging fraud and misrepresentation. The plaintiffs claim that they incurred significant debt, expecting intensive one-year training leading to commercial pilot careers, but the program suffered from severe staff and equipment shortages. Students were frequently reassigned instructors and had minimal flight time were even taught by fellow students in some cases just to get things done. Now, the suit alleges that it basically was progressing way too slow, possibly not meeting the enrollment cap of the 325 students it needed to keep going forward, and basically suppressed 50 students from getting anything done. The Academy later withdrew its accreditation after being placed on probation, which means anybody going through the program essentially is doing it for their own good and not getting any actual paperwork that's worth anything. 29 plaintiffs are in this from across the U.S., and they say they were misled into relocating and taking financial risks due to what was a promise of great financial backing and a great job. But once they got there, it was bad training, and the fact that they couldn't get any accreditation that was worth anything made it a difference. Filed in federal court in Phoenix, claims under the Arizona Consumer Fraud Act, as well as allegations of fraudulent misrepresentation, fraudulent inducement, negligence, and civil conspiracy. The plaintiffs are seeking compensatory damages and punitive damage. That's money for them and money to basically make the airlines feel bad about things. Specific amounts aren't determined, but of course, when the jury gets to it, they can make it $1 billion if they want to. You can check out more about the United Aviate Academy, opened in 2022, so it's fairly new, at Phoenix Goodyear Airport to address the pilot shortage by 5,000 folks. They wanted to train 5,000 folks by 2030. Lawsuit said they could not handle the capacity, and it was just a waste of all time, and for them, a big waste of money, which they now must have to pay back. Mark Zuckerberg returns to witness stand and pushes back on FTC antitrust claims. On his second day on trial for the Federal Trade Commission pushing on him, saying that Meta is a monopoly for Meta platforms, CEO Mark Zuckerberg defended his company's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp, the two apps that are in contention right now. With a counter to allegations that the moves to acquire those businesses were intended to suppress competition. The FTC contends that Meta's 2012 purchase of Instagram for $1 billion and its 2014 acquisition of WhatsApp for $19 billion were strategic efforts to eliminate emerging rivals and maintain dominance in the personal social networking market. To support this claim, the FTC has presented internal communications, stuff that Zuckerberg basically said to his folks internally at the company, describing Instagram as a growing so much faster than us that we had to buy them. Zuckerberg acknowledged that acquiring a company inherently removes a competitor from the market, but emphasized that Meta's intention to enhance the product offerings and user experience was the point, not just to get rid of a rival, but to actually make what they're doing better. He stated, "We could have built our own app, but whether it would have succeeded or not would be speculation." The big speculation on this is based on the fact that buying out these apps and buying out these processes did bring into the fold some functionality that they needed as a way to battle other folks, X and YouTube and things like that. But the big issue is that in many cases, many small apps, many small companies were bought by Facebook, by Meta, and Facebook at the time, and then shelved, gotten rid of, just killed because they didn't want to deal with it, or they could not find the talent to actually build something on their own, so they just bought it and basically turned it into themselves. That's the Instagram and WhatsApp sort of points on this one. We'll see how this thing plays out. Another day in court will happen. We'll see what happens in this trial to see if Mark Zuckerberg gets a little bit blame. The big sort of the back door dealings of this one. Mark Zuckerberg actually worked hard to try to pay off, I should say, or settle this case early on for a lowball number. Basically, he's been working with the president and saying his closeness to President Trump should have gotten him off the case, essentially, donating to his inauguration, showing up for all the things, all the stuff like that. Should have gotten some leniency. But right now, we're seeing the trial continue as it is. It may turn to some leniency in the future, but right now, not looking like he's getting any favors from Trump, who's focused on, immigrants, things like that. Quick pause from the news stories. 4 more to come in for you. We promise you 8. We'll get you 8 stories. But first, we're going to take a quick pause to ask you for a bit of a favor. We need your help in growing the News Nerd Nation for the Conversation Project, and specifically for things you might not have heard. So if you're watching this video and you're not sure how you got this one, we ask you to engage in it. And if you think it's worthy of engagement, we need you to like it. If you like it, that means I am producing the right amounts of stories, the right amount of content, and the right amount of snark in the way of commentary going forward. Not too much, not too little, just the right amounts. If you say you like it, it tells me I'm doing good. It also tells the algorithms this is a good video to show to other folks, so we get more people to mostly watch it. If you know people who enjoy this type of commentary and news coverage, share it directly with them and hope that they will watch it. They may like it. They may share it as well. If you're not getting this natively in your feed, you're not sure how you got this, or someone shared it to you in a clip or a group chat, go ahead and subscribe to it, wherever you are, whether it's best for you. This video is coming out to you live to tape on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. So check them out and see what you like there. Subscribe there. We also have our email newsletter, which is just pure email. You can find it at our website. Links to podcasts, audio podcasts, wherever your podcasts. And of course, we do have the hot takes on TikTok. So, and do have a shorter version of this on TikTok as well, a 10-minute version as opposed to the 10 minutes I took doing 4 stories. All that and more. Like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow what's up in the News Nerd Nation. The Savannah bananas are a phenomena. If you don't understand what they are, you just have to kind of see them to believe them. And they are a baseball team. They're more or less like the Globetrotters. They don't actually have an affiliation with an actual league, but they do their best to promote the game of baseball. They play sort of barnstorming type games in various places, minor league teams going forward. And you'll see a lot more of them. And not just on the viral videos they have on the YouTubes and the TikToks. ESPN is going to air 10 full Savannah Banana games this summer under a new deal that they have coming through with a partnership for broadcast. They'll be on ESPN, ESPN2 based on what's going on. Plus, all will stream live on ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. So they're there whether you want it or not. There's so much bananas fun coming your way. They will feature the Bananas' unique banana ball format, known for its entertaining and unconventional rules, such as fans catching foul balls for outs and batters being allowed to steal first base. Interesting. The game will be played in various prominent venues, including MLB stadiums like Fenway Park and NFL stadiums such as Nissan Stadium. The Bananas actually set a record for attendance for baseball in a football stadium a few weeks back, which is amazing because people were talking about how the football team can't seem to sell out the stadium, but this rogue baseball team can as well. This collaboration brings the Bananas' distinctive blend of baseball and entertainment to a broader audience. If you don't know much about minor league baseball, it's not so much about having great teams. It's about having a few great players that the majors can pull when they need them and being able to have enough fun on the field to do fun things. So here in Arkansas, for the Arkansas Travelers in North Little Rock, where they live now, there's so many things that are done to bring in people to hang out in the ballpark that they can pay people to play baseball and make things go. This is how it works there. So they'll have a wrestling night. They have all sort of concerts. There's fireworks all the time, and many things going on. Diamond Dig Night, we can actually dig for diamond rings, a good thing as well. I already said wrestling night, things like that. But this commitment to the partnership will bring more banana ball out to the world. For people who don't understand what's going on, this is an amazing phenomenon. And for people who have trouble watching baseball on TV, trust me, this is a pretty fun thing to watch. Since we're talking to Savannahs, let's go to Savannah Chrisley, because I posted this. And while I'll be more able to talk about her parents, we're talking about her and her breakup from her boyfriend. And the breakup is being blamed on an estranged wife of her ex. She also alleges there's a murder plot in there. A whole lot going on for Savannah Chrisley, who doesn't seem to, in my opinion, have very much going for her in a way of actual talent and things to do that are worthy of paychecks and sort of do things for humanity. But she's Todd's daughter, so there you go. Savannah opened up about her recent breakup with Robert Sheaver, attributing the end of their relationship of 2 years to their turmoil and his estranged wife, Lindsay Shriver. Lindsay is currently awaiting trial for allegedly plotting the murder of Robert in 2023, a situation that Savannah claims brought significant emotional distress to the relationship. In the April 13th episode of her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, Savannah revealed that the couple parted ways on March 6th. They expressed that the relationship had many positive aspects, but the chaos stemming from Lindsay's actions and the whole trial thing was something that they couldn't handle. She stated in a quote from the podcast, "I don't believe that Robert and I would be where we are today if she wouldn't have caused so much destruction." She also reflected on challenges of dating someone who is not officially divorced, noting that Robert filed divorce in April 2023, but the process remained unresolved, i.e. they're still kind of together. She emphasized the importance of personal growth and healing, expressing her intention to focus on herself and career before entering another relationship. Despite that breakup, Savannah remains committed to maintaining a relationship with Robert's 3 sons. She shared that she continues to be present in their lives, stating, "When they call, I'm going to answer. If they need me, I'll show up. I will be there." So the candid discussions notwithstanding, this is a situation, one of those things where, as I already said, this is a person that is famous for being famous, and what she's famous for, fortunately, is not quite as crazy as some of the folks are being famous for, but what she actually contributes to society, other than a podcast and a lifeline to find out information about her parents still in prison, not very much, in my opinion. The IRS memo suggests that up to 40% of workforce reductions is under consideration. Oh, we brought this up early when we talked about that guy who said that talk on the stuff. But in actual news, the IRS is preparing a significant workforce reduction just as tax season is hitting the full swing and start getting those process things going on. But potentially they're going to cut up to 40% of its staff, according to an internal memo that was obtained by CBS, our source for the story. Aims to cut the workforce from 102,000 to between 60,000 and 70,000 employees. The reductions are set to occur in 2 phases, with the first phase focusing on offices such as Taxpayer Experience Office, Transformation and Strategy Office, Online Services Office, and the Office of Civil Rights. Those might be important places to have people working, but they're the first ones getting cut. Second phase will target taxpayer services and compliance divisions. These cuts are part of the broader initiative by the Trump administration and, of course, Deutsche, and talk about them in a few days, aiming to streamline federal operations. Over 22,000 IRS employees have already accepted voluntary buyouts from the Deferred Resignation Program. So they will see full pay and benefits till September and not actually have to work, which I guess is good. Critics express concern over essentially getting work done and how things are going forward. One very interesting thing that came out was from a blogger or video, something. I can't remember which one came in, so I can't give them proper credit. But basically, it was a thought process that, if Deutsche really wanted to do some work, they could fire the entire government. They could just dissolve the government, literally get rid of everyone, the president included. Everyone in the government could go away. And from that, about 2.3% of the budget would be saved. So in actuality, cutting these jobs doesn't really affect the numbers that people want to believe they do, because they just don't. Our final story for the day, we talk about Wink Martindale, the beloved game show host, and of course, the early interviewer of Elvis, died at the age of 91. The iconic radio host personality for TV game shows has died at the age of 91, dying on April 15th in Rancho Mirage, California. His death was due to lymphoma following a year-long battle with the illness. His born name, Winston Conrad Martindale, Wink if you want to call him that, on December 4th of 1933 in Jackson, Tennessee, began broadcasting at 17 as disc jockey and gained national recognition hosting the game shows like Gambit, Tic-Tac-Toe, and High Rollers. I love me some Tic-Tac-Toe. Notably, during his tenure on Tic-Tac-Toe, he oversaw Navy Lieutenant Tom McKay's record-breaking 80-game winning streak. Martindale also had a successful music career. In 1959, a spoken word recording called Deck of Cards reached the number 7 Billboard Hot 100, and he also, on his first interview, Elvis Presley on television, and maintained a friendship with the singer throughout his entire life. survived by his wife of 49 years, Sandra Martindale, 3 daughters, several grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. He will be missed from folks of my generation that loved him from staying at home on sick days or being on a summer vacation and watching tic-tac-toe and those game shows. This is a guy that is your childhood, and this is one of those things that reminds you that the preciousness of that childhood. Godspeed to you, Wink Martindale. Much love, much good tidings and great thoughts and positive energy to those folks, family, friends, those who loved Wink Martindale. We have wrapped up the 8 stories we promised you, and now we're going to our teaser section where we're giving you the tools to figure out how we get things done for the Conversation Project. This is where I explain how the 8 stories we had for you just now got to be here, and it's simple. You have to tell us what to talk about. The whole engagement thing, the whole you deem them conversational, it really is that. This is not just me picking a list from what's trending and pulling out stories. This is me spending all day long putting stories out there for you to engage in, and you telling me which stories are actually worthy of having a conversation over. How does this happen? You follow us on Facebook or you follow us on X. That's how it happens. We give you news stories every 50 minutes, links to articles all over the place on Facebook and X, and all day long you get a chance to engage in them. So you hit the emoji face you want for your feelings on it. You can read it, please. You can reply to it. You can share it. All the things you can do to those things. And the more engagement a story gets, the better chance of talking about it the next day, next iteration, next go round. It's that simple. We actually teased yesterday the story about the female soldier who actually finished the Army Ranger contest, and she did a pretty good job on that one. A lot of interest on that one. So you want to see more about that, go look it up. It didn't quite get the response that was there because, Wink Martindale and Joe Biden. So we had to get stories that were more conversational, so that happened there. Now, here's a story that is part of a bigger detail. A lot of Republicans actually went back to holding town halls, and they did them this week. A big significant one that happened for Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia happened where protesters were arrested, brought out of the place, and 2 of them were tased. 2 of them were tased at a town hall. Do you want to talk about the town hall itself, tasing people at town halls? She basically did a fairly good job managing things, but she did go to the "you're being brainwashed by the media" line somewhere in the middle of it. So there was that as well. We can talk about town halls specifically, but this story in particular, town halls in general, this story in particular, if you engage in it. This story should be out there by the time you see this video, whether you're watching it live to tape or you're watching it later in the day. You may have to go look for it, but you will see this link in our feeds on Facebook and X. If you like it, engage in it. If you don't like it, but want to talk about it, engage in it. We'll make that happen. If you don't like the stories that we are putting out for you here in our spotlights, email me at theconversationinbox@gmail.com and we can talk it out. Can't go back in the past and update the story, but we can focus more on those types of stories in the future because there are a range of stories. You do take a range of stories. The top half of stories get a chance to be picked for 8 stories for the day. So some stories don't make the cut because they're not popular enough. Some stories don't make the cut because we only have 8 slots. More on that by going to our website. This is conversationproject.com and seeing the full details. I'll explain that again in a moment as well. Our sponsor for the day is Robinhood. Robinhood gives you a free stock for signing up with them and gives us a small commission for you signing up with them using our link. Our link is this. It's theconversationproject.com/Robinhood. Now, if you're ready to take control of your financial future, right now is a good time to get into that. Robinhood has made investment very simple, very easy, and accessible to more folks. Empowering is one word they use to describe what they're doing because it's not up to a broker who can take his time to get things done, or you have to ask him for questions, or may do something that you didn't ask for because he's doing whatever they're doing. Hopefully it's due diligence. Sometimes it isn't. What it is you choosing what you want to buy, sell, trade, and hold. Now, remember, investments can always lose money. They can always lose money. So they're not always guaranteed to go up and up forever. So you have to be careful what's going on. But if you want to get into the game, you've got to get into the game. You got to actually play the game a bit, and Robinhood allows you to do this. And once you get good at it, for your stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptocurrency, you can do this commission-free trading on your own, buy and sell what you want, and of course, get information from various tools they have and tools online as well. It is a great way to learn, a great way to grow, and a great way to put a little money aside to watch it happen. Now, we don't want you to put the rent money on this one. And remember, options, stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies, especially cryptocurrencies, all go down from time to time. Crypto, very much down at the moment. But if you want to get more control over your investments, you can try Robinhood today. And as I said, if you sign up, you get a free stock. So that's free money just for that one. And you don't have to pay, you don't have to pay full price for stocks. You can get marginal or fractional price stocks. So if something costs $100, you can buy $25 with it. Something costs $1,000, you can buy $25 with it, whatever you want to get in on the game and get some bits and pieces on there. Most of my things are very big stocks that have fractions of, and that's how I do things going forward. Easy to use and understand resources going forward, cash management tools, and Robinhood Gold as well. So check it out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Robinhood. This is theconversationproject.com/Robinhood. Take more control of your finances, of your investments today with Robinhood. Now, the Conversation Project lives online at thisistheconversationproject.com. That is our online home. That is the place where you find our places. We house our stuff there. Recaps and reviews of past episodes are there. Links to all the places you can find us are there. Links to more of our sponsors are there. Links to our partnerships page where you can be one-time donations, partnership link sales, or you can give a full ongoing donation bi-monthly via Buy Me a Coffee are there as well. And of course, our origin stories, and as I said, links to where we're at to. Now, we want you to go to our website and do a lot of things, but the biggest thing we want you to do is make sure you're following us on the feeds and giving us engagement on the stories. The more engagement you get on stories, the better chance we have of doing the better stories. That's what we're looking for, the best stories. We can find ways to make money on the side, but we will ask you for money occasionally. We'll ask you less if you help us out with these things here. It's that simple. And we're done. We're going to wrap it up at record time today because it just feels that way. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and we are wrapping up Wednesday, April 16th edition of Things You Might Have Heard 2025. If you're looking for more from us, stop by our website. This is theconversationproject.com and find out more about what we have going on. If you want something a bit shorter with these same details, follow us on TikTok. Look for The Conversation Project on TikTok. We do a 10-minute version of this on TikTok. It gets a quick run through as opposed to the 20-minute plus the ads going forward. Actually, we do the like, share, subscribe things. We do that as well. So you get a shorter version because it's TikTok worthy going there. Make sure you're doing what you can to stay limber, stay on task, stay hydrated. Your life should be more of a marathon than a sprint. So make sure you're working as a marathon, not a sprint. Love you. Mean it. We're wrapping up for the day. Let's get on with it for a great Wednesday. And we'll do more of this stuff here for you tomorrow for Thursday.